Why do some men reject love? It's the most wonderful thing on the planet, but they run away from it like it's the most terrifying thing on the planet. It reminds me of that T-Rex chase from Jurassic Park, where they're driving as fast as they can, screaming while it's chasing them. That's how a lot of men seem to feel about authentic love with a partner who wants to be with them for life. Other men screw up a sure romance by sabotaging it, by doing something foolish, as if they have to kill that connection before it can destroy them. We've talked a lot on this channel lately about something called avoidant attachment style, which is the belief that high-risk situations are impossible to navigate with other people because other people are not worthy of trust and other people will betray you. This makes romantic relationships very high risk and, in essence, very terrifying. Even though the avoidantly attached men wouldn't classify themselves as being afraid, they're being practical about the high risk. Okay? Avoidant attachment style complicates love in a massive way, and it makes it into a seemingly dangerous thing. This is why a lot of avoidant men are going to back off when you, their partner, want them to lean in. So, if you've ever been left behind by a man that you offered your heart to, this video today is going to help you understand exactly what happened and how to make sure that you never get your heart broken like that ever again. I am Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. I've been training in psychology and relationships for over 15 years. I was a licensed marriage and family therapist for many years. Now I focus exclusively on helping people improve their attachment and the way that they connect with other human beings in relationships, especially in romantic relationships. Now, in recent seasons, I have become the avoidant man whisperer at the same time. And a lot of men and women are coming here for information about this. I'm glad you're here, and I'm going to provide a lot more guidance today. Today, I want to unpack the secrets of avoidant men and give you the three main reasons why they seem to run away just when the relationship is about to shift into real love and feel great for everybody. Okay? Let's go. Now, you've heard me talk about avoidant attachment style in a ton of my recent videos and my live streams. And I know thousands of you are coming to those live streams and watching them even after they're posted. Thank you for that. But quickly, for people who may be coming to this channel for the first time, because I know every time I do an avoidant video, I get thousands of new viewers and hundreds of new subscribers. So welcome to the channel. Let me explain really quick, brief recap. What is avoidant attachment style? Based on the best research over the last 40 years into attachment styles, it seems that avoidant attachment style is a survival adaptation. When a child grows up in an environment where other people are arbitrary, with rules, or hurtful, or inconsistent, when other people prove unworthy of trust. Okay? In an environment where nobody's going to share their resources with that child, in an environment where nobody is going to be fair or listen to that child or talk with them, that child, and especially primarily men, form a strong barrier against other people. The belief in their head is, I don't have a mechanism for trusting other people because nobody has ever been worthy of my trust. Everybody will eventually betray me. Everybody will eventually try to hurt me or take from me. I need to keep a safe wall between me and everybody else. Now, this is a fear response, but they would not categorize this as fear. They would categorize this as being very practical, very strong in their approach, very, very protective, right? A lot of men are probably watching this saying, yeah, I'm not afraid. This is normal life. This is not how men are supposed to operate. This is an extreme circumstance that your brain adapts to. Especially if you don't get much oxytocin bonding in childhood, your brain learns that nobody is going to share that level of intimacy with you. Instead, you navigate onto the dopamine and cortisol pathways. Cortisol to constantly keep you amped up and alert and vigilant. Avoidant men are some of the most sensitive and hyper-aware of all people on the planet. And also dopamine to try to manage that stress level. So you're going to constantly be injecting yourself with dopamine binges here and there to try to ease your stress levels, especially at the end of the night. Alcoholism is one great example of this. Massively high-performing men who are hyper-vigilant and hyper-aware, but have to bring themselves down with alcohol at the end of the night because they can't relax. This is a specific cocktail of that brain chemistry that comes about with avoidant attachment style. Now, avoidant attachment style is not designed to hurt other people. There are manipulative people who have avoidant attachment style, but by and large, they fit into the category that I have come to call ethical avoidant. Ethical avoidant people simply want to be left alone. They're actually trying to be reasonably fair with other people in a way that they don't believe anybody else will be fair to them. So they do pull away from emotions. They do pull away from conflict. They do withdraw when you try to get too close, but it's because they don't have a framework for trusting anybody. This is key. It is not malicious. It is not meant to be harmful, and it's not meant to be manipulative in the vast majority of cases. Instead, it is a protective mechanism drawn from life experience, behavior patterns, and neurochemistry. It is absolutely important that you understand this because avoidantly attached people are demonized left and right on the internet, and they don't want to learn about avoidant attachment because they read about these horrific behaviors and say, that's not me. I'm just trying to stay safe, and I just want to be left alone. Now, to give you the 3 ways to make sure that you have a fulfilling, loving relationship with your future avoidant partner or your current avoidant partner, if you want to build a loving relationship with them, we have to talk first about the 3 key problems that avoidant attachment brings into relationships. We're going to build the solutions from these 3 key problems. So stay tuned. Here we go. Okay. Number 1, avoidant attachment makes love exhausting for these men. It's because they're running constant risk assessment in their head from that avoidant survival style. They cannot turn it off. They cannot stop the constant risk assessment, risk assessment, risk assessment. And if they don't have safety frameworks to be able to make judgment calls and have systems running detection for them, they are manually scanning for threat at all times. Now, let's do a little experiment. As you're watching this, you are now intimately aware of every blink of your eyelids. Every time they blink, you are aware of them. How often are you blinking? Are you blinking more often than usual? Are you blinking right now on purpose? You almost forgot, didn't you? But now you're aware of it again. Do you blink more than this usually? Are your eyes feeling dry? This right here is a tiny sliver of what it's like to have avoidant attachment style. Now that I've moved on, you've probably forgotten about your eye blinking and it's gone back to a manual mode. But that doesn't happen with avoidantly attached people. They are constantly manually scanning, which means everybody else's emotions, everybody else's feelings, everybody else's stances on things, everybody else's opinions, everything becomes crucial data that they must always be aware of and track in case somebody turns on them and they have to manage a new threat. This is why love is exhausting for them, because the closer they get to you, the more they should be able to relax into the connection, but the higher the risk goes, the higher the expectation goes, the higher all of these issues go, so it's so much more important for them to track even more carefully than before. Imagine being aware of your blinking for the next 5 years, every single blink. That would be exhausting. That would be distracting. That's avoidant attachment style. As they're tracking all those variables, it takes a tremendous amount of energy. That's why being close to people is scary. They don't even have a framework for how to track risk carefully the closer they get because they've never really been that close. So they don't even know how to track the risk. They are simply scanning for what feels like an overwhelming, incalculable risk. This is exhausting to them. This is why they start to burn out. Now, number 2, the second problem that avoidant attachment brings to relationships. Love is painful for them. Now, the avoidant belief is that everybody's going to betray them eventually. It's not that they trust their partners, but it's also not necessarily that they distrust their partners. They simply trust that partner more than they trust the other people that they distrust in life. Nobody is trusted because everybody will eventually give into stress, bad behavior, bad decisions, hypocrisy. They simply assume everyone is going to fail them. But they are still very disappointed and very hurt when somebody lets them down, especially the first time. They're even more disappointed, I would say, than other people, because every time they meet someone, there is the tiniest hope that that person is not going to be the one that hurts them. Now, their framework of trust is this person won't hurt me. But the belief is that everybody is going to hurt them eventually. It's a massive paradox. This is why once you make one mistake, the avoidant person never, ever, ever, ever lets it go and brings it up every single time you have any kind of disagreement or try to talk to them about how you care about them. They say, yeah, but remember this one time. To them, it's evidence that you are simply like every other human on the planet and that you will always let them down. This isn't necessarily damning in their eyes. They're not trying usually to say it that way. They're letting you know you are a risk and that's why I can't let you in. But it feels like overwhelming judgment. Every time somebody hurts them, it makes them lose more faith in humanity all over again. when they've tried their best to try to make people happy. They try to give dopamine to other people because they don't usually understand the oxytocin pathway, GABA, serotonin, forming deeper bonds and deeper connections that are emotionally fulfilling and make you content. They try to give you dopamine in the first 6 months of a relationship. They try to make you feel good. And then you did something that disappointed them and wounded them. Okay? This wounds their ability to trust even deeper. This is why avoidant attachment style tends to get worse, and they withdraw more during the course of their life. It feels like having constant scar tissue in your heart, and somebody is always stabbing that scar tissue and making new layers of scar tissue on top of it over and over and over. Okay? It is exhausting and painful to them. This is why when you try to get them to open up, it's just the same old story they've heard 20 times, and they have very little hope. This is why that happens. Problem number 3 that avoidant attachment style creates in romantic relationships. Love is a trap to them. Freedom represents their ability to maneuver around risks. So the more freedom they have, the safer ultimately they can be, the more mobile they can be, the more better decisions they can be. Okay? Giving up freedom requires a huge form of compensation. But they believe less and less that they'll ever really be compensated for giving up any kind of freedom. Now, society is making this risk calculation even worse for them, with their massive divorce rates, terrible stories of marital betrayal, all the horrible things that are out there that make avoidant people say, never. I will never take that gamble. That is idiotic. Most of them, again, don't have a framework for even being compensated. They don't understand oxytocin and serotonin bonding and how amazing that can feel and how fulfilling and enriching that is, and that it is worth the calculated risk of love. That's what makes love valuable. I said at the beginning of this video, love is the most beautiful thing on the planet, but think of it this way. If you take the world's biggest diamond and you take it to somebody who doesn't know what a diamond is, and you hand it to them and say, I will give you this. And they say, why are you giving me a stupid rock? That's what's happening here with avoidant attachment style and love. They've been wounded over and over, but they also have no framework for understanding what love is supposed to feel like. There is no compensation model that could possibly justify them taking reckless gambles. This is avoidant attachment style in committed relationships. These are the 3 reasons why avoidant men run away when love starts to get real. This is why they pull back. This is why they get nervous. This is why they look terrified. This is why they start talking about risks. This is why they start pointing out problems. This is why they start really just withdrawing into their shell and you stop hearing from them. The saddest part is that they want love more than anything, but it's forbidden fruit to them. It's something they can never have. It's something they've never really felt, but it's something they have a biochemical longing for. You don't do well when you don't have oxytocin. You develop chronic pain. You also don't get GABA, which helps synthesize melatonin so you can sleep better at night. A lot of avoidant men have chronic insomnia. You also won't be able to suppress cortisol as well, so your stress levels will be off the charts. So you develop coping behaviors like alcoholism, very common. You need these biochemicals. But these avoidant men have almost never experienced them. So, what do you do to fix this? What can you do to address these 3 core fears to help an avoidant man stay in the relationship, see the value of it, choose to make that calculated risk, and believe that you are the one who can help him? 3 things, okay? Step number 1, create a refreshing love. Now, there cannot be any guessing or overthinking or unknown risk, or unstated expectations. Everything must be explicitly stated. There can be no secret expectations or unspoken problems, okay? Only direct communication, clear expectations, and a lot of questions. Curiosity, asking questions, clarifying everything, okay? Everything must be known. It has to be measurable, it has to make sense to them, and it has to be presented openly so that they can make an educated decision. Most avoidant men, it's not what you're asking that terrifies them. It's all the things they think are going to come after they step into that trap. This is why they say, I don't think I can give you what you're looking for. And you say, love? all the things that come afterward that they don't even know that you're going to ask yet, but the shifting goalposts that they think are coming. Okay? When you clarify, it helps their overthinking. It helps their constant risk assessment. When you explain everything for them and it's all laid out clearly, they can make a decision. It's like making a financial decision to sign a mortgage or to invest in a stock. Everything is laid out with numbers and they simply look at it and there's no unknowns. They can make their choice. This feels like an incredible relief to them. It's refreshing to them to have a human being offer them that much clarity and that much safety. This is why they're phenomenal in business. They are usually great with finances. They're big in investing because numbers make sense. Make your relationship clear and measurable and make sense to them, and they will feel relieved and it will be refreshing for them. Now, step number 2, to counteract that feeling of everybody letting them down, create a nurturing love. Okay? How do you do this? Well, you cannot be perfect. You are going to mess up. But what you can be is self-correcting, self-policing, okay? Let's say you make a mistake. Let's say you accidentally hurt them, okay? Because you will. Everybody does eventually. Every relationship screws up. You go and say, I am so sorry. I am honestly sorry for that. That was unacceptable. It violated my own principles and my goals, and I don't want to treat you this way. So here's what I'm going to do to close the gap of why it happened, and here's what I'd like to do to make this right for you. Can we do both of those things? Will you give me the time to do that? Then you take the actual steps forward into doing it and you prove it. When you do this, they are stunned. They are shocked that somebody cares enough about them to stop and say, no, this wasn't right and I'm sorry and I will take steps. And then you do take steps. They are blown away. They are used to hypocrisy. They're used to people who have fancy ideals that they don't actually follow. So when you follow your ideals and your principles, your philosophy, your religion, whatever, when you follow that during stress, when it costs you something, it shocks them. They haven't seen that before. That's what they've been looking for. Okay? It also makes you predictable and safe for them. They don't have to defend against you anymore. You're no longer a risk because if you do something wrong, they just have to let you know and you fix it. They don't have to manage you. They don't have to constantly scan your feelings for the slightest hint of betrayal. Now, emotional discipline is key for this. You're going to have to build your own emotional intimacy and be able to take ownership, that emotional discipline, okay? You have to build yours. A lot of people who are in relationships with avoidant people tend to have anxious tendencies, and that makes you collapse into making your feelings their problem or feeling like you don't have control of your emotions. This can make you defensive. It can make you unpredictable. You have to manage that yourself, okay? If you don't know how, I've got resources for this. I have private coaching. I have a mentorship community. I have a video course on how to fix anxious attachment. There's a lot of ways to fix this and build your emotional discipline. Make sure that you're doing that so that they don't feel overwhelmed by your feelings. You need to be self-policing and self-correcting. That creates space for them to feel safe, okay? That's the piece you got to do for number 2. Now, number 3, how to handle that freedom, right? Love feels like a trap. They need freedom. Create a freeing love. Now, this does not mean 0 labels, okay? Relationships are a trap when there's too many unknowns and there's no compensation for surrendering that freedom. So again, you have to make the unknowns known. You have to show them how to maintain the ability to be in a relationship. You have to show them that you can negotiate during conflicts. You have to show them that inside this relationship, it's not a trap. Everything will be fair and reasonable. That there will be loving compromises, okay? One way that you could do this if you're looking to get married, build a prenup that protects both sides. That doesn't just talk about the finances of a divorce, but talks about the expectations inside the relationship. Caring for each other, good faith clauses and things like that in there. Talk about building that together so that they can actually see a contract laid out and see what a relationship would look like. A lot of avoidant men want a prenup. A lot of women feel they're going to be victimized by a prenup. Why don't you build one that takes care of both of you? The act of building that together actually could deepen your love and your trust for each other. Think about that. Show them how to resolve conflicts lovingly with you. Guide them through that. If you have the skills to solve a conflict and say, hey, you know what? Here's a problem that popped up. Why don't we take care of it this way? Here's what I'd like. Does that feel fair to you? If not, What do you think? What are you thinking? Solution-focused sharing, solution-focused fact-finding, being curious and asking questions. Hey, I noticed you did this. I'm not going to get mad. I really want to understand you. Talk to me about this. Being able to do that instead of jumping to a conclusion saying, you did this? Why did you do that? What? Right? Attacking. Can you be reasonable? Can you be curious? Even if you're a bit hurt, can you say, you know what? I am a bit hurt, but I'd like to understand you. Are you seeking to understand, or are you seeking to justify and assuage your own feelings? It is important that they understand that you will come to them instead of coming at them. It's important for them to understand this is not a trap. This is a loving agreement where you will work with them and that they will be enhanced in their ability to manage risk and manage hurts for the rest of their life. You are decreasing their risk in life. You're enhancing their growth. Your love together with them makes them more resilient. That's the goal here. Marriage should make them, and commitment and love should make them more resilient in the future, not less resilient. You can only show that if you can prove to them that you are a reasonable partner who's going to help them. Now, I will reiterate the most important part of this video, you guys. Even though they often do run away, avoidant men want love more than anybody else, but they also don't believe it's possible to find real love. Follow the steps in this program here, in this video that we've laid out today. Be the one person in his life that offers him this level of risk management. We'll use their words. Safety is the anxious person's words. This level of safety. You will become his first true love. This will mean everything to him. This is what avoidant men have been looking for. It's also why they run away. They haven't seen it before. Building a relationship like this with him while maintaining your own emotional needs, it can be very hard, right? It's even harder if you're facing anxious attachment yourself or if you feel hurt by him withdrawing. If you need help building a relationship like this together, remember that I am here to help you with couples coaching or singles coaching, okay? It's a few sessions together. We can build the low risk, high trust relationship that makes him look forward to marrying you. And to the avoidant men out there who are watching this, I would love for you to drop it in the comments. Tell me, did I get this right or wrong? Is this the relationship you're looking for here today? Would you invest with a woman that did these 3 steps? Let them know because they're going to be watching. Now, for now, this is Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, telling you to build a love that fulfills everybody's needs. And make sure that you check out my previous video that you cannot miss. What a man with an avoidant attachment style needs to be happy. That video is changing the definition of love, and you need to see it. Go check it out.